Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with my good friend, the lumberjack landlord. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing awesome, Mike. Super excited to talk about this because I think that there's not nearly enough talk about this one subject on the market.
Yeah. So, folks, you've been watching my channel for the last week, maybe 8 days or so. I've been struggling with kind of, the second book I'm writing, why we're doing it, all the stories. I first kind of fixated on the word hope, right? What was different about these 15 individuals that came from crazy beginnings to great success? I first went to hope. I now think that is a bad word. It's, hope is not a strategy, all of those things. Now, what I believe it is they had this, I don't know, unique belief in themselves. And I want to talk about that with you because, again, as your story is well documented, a ninth grade dropout, not really set up for success. The numbers say you are going to be a financial loser. But you just went after it. And, we talked about hope last week. We kind of tap danced around it. But I really do think it's belief, but it was really belief in yourself, because I'm guessing there's not like a men's group for ninth grade dropouts where you talk in circles about how to become successful or something, right?
No.
I mean,
if we were, we couldn't organize it. And we don't have our licenses yet, so we can't drive there.
Yeah, you gotta get on your bike and drive, or to ride your bike.
That's
That's
the
hilarious.
best case scenario. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend being a ninth grade dropout, by any stretch. But you know what? It gave me, I don't apologize for the choices that I made or the life that I had. But yeah, there was belief in myself.
Where did that come from, though? What I'm really trying to figure out, it goes back to Anna Kelly. Right? She just articulated it the best, but I have felt this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. Kids that grow up in an environment like I did, like you did, the disproportionate amount, 70%, Anna's numbers, I'm just quoting what she shared with me, kind of stay in that perpetually. And I want to know, what is it about the 30%? Is it just some kind of innate internal thing that you're going to battle? And for me, it's like, you tell me I can't do something. All right, mother blanker, I'll show you, kind of stuff. But because, again, did you have any role models or any influence that, like, wow, that guy's successful, I'm going to follow them, or that lady is successful, I'm going to follow her? Or did you just kind of wing it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was just a lot. It was a lot of winging it. It was a lot of just, I didn't, I knew I was smart. I knew I could figure things out. And I knew that was going to get me nowhere if I didn't actually do something about it. Like, I have so many people that have worked for me or with me, or I've worked for in the past, that are really smart and talented people, and they're completely useless because they don't apply it.
Completely useless.
They don't apply it. Like, congratulations. Like, I've seen some folks that, Ivy League school and things like that. And, one guy actually said in a meeting something about the fact that, he went Ivy League and I didn't go at all, or I didn't even get out of high school. And I said, now you're on my list, MFer.
Yeah.
And I did 500% of my number that year. And he didn't hit his number. And I just said, just let that remind you that those leaves on the outside of that building mean nothing.
Yeah.
It's all about what you do with that opportunity. And so, yeah, that was the thing, is for me, largely, like, I didn't really have a mentor. I mean, I had a single mom that was just trying to make it.
Right.
And that's it.
That's where
probably
I'm at.
The most that it could be is I just had a single, because a lot of us just came from that, which was, we were poor. We didn't have a lot of money. And what poor was poor, not poor was I have 2 flat panels and 3 iPhones in the
family. Exactly.
Poor was legit poor, like
ramen
food,
noodles for a month. Yeah.
Food might be an issue. Activities. Yeah. Here's an activity.
Go outside.
Here's a stick in a rim. Go outside.
Exactly.
Like, that was largely speaking, that was life. And a lot of people around us didn't have any idea. I mean, my mom drove one car for 13 years, and then she drove her next car for 20 years. Like, these were the lives that we had.
But so again, right, I'm thinking about you at 14, 15, 16. Again, odds clearly stacked against you, like insurmountable odds for most people. Yeah. What can we do to get that kid to see you and believe that, what, if they apply half of what you did, they can have a better life? Because too many people get in an environment, through no fault of their own. Although I would tell you, dropping out of ninth grade's on you, honestly.
Yep.
Kind of own that.
It was. Yep.
But there's other things that happen in life, right? And we have to we got to show more and more people that if you work hard, you sacrifice, you do things for any length of time, the returns could be amazing, right? We don't stop the handouts. And
the most important investment anybody will make is in themselves. It's the most important investment anybody will ever make.
But how do we make that stick? How do we make that hit home to somebody, to a child in Section 8 housing that might be 16, 17 and going to go out on their own soon? How do we make that stick?
Do you want the real answer?
Of course I do.
It's not. Get ready for hate mail.
His name is the Lumberjack Landlord.
Yeah,
he has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I do. We remove safety nets. Sorry. I'm a jerk. Listen, some people really need them, and I get the time for them being a picture of time, a determined amount of time. However, that is what hurts us the most, is the fact that too many people have been put in a position where they can't fully fail. You can't fully fail. You can't, because you can bump along the bottom of life and you can have just enough to cover rent, just enough to do this, just enough to do that. And the problem is that when you insert programs in there, those are people that often become dependent on those programs. And that's why it then perpetuates, because they learn a survival skill, which is living off the program. So yeah, so many people are going to hate this. It is what it is. And yeah, you can send it on my channel and you can do all those horrible things. I don't really care, because at the end of the day, that's the truth. The fact of the matter is that I didn't have a safety net. I did not have a safety net. It was just that simple. And so I had to realize, okay, I was out of the house at 18. I didn't have anywhere else to go. I had to find a friend that was going to be in a position where they were going to be able to rent me or rent something to me or find something. Like, that's what I had to do. I stayed with other family for a very brief time, for just like a few months, but because it was abrupt when I moved out. And so it was over the course of a few months where I had to figure some out. I had to figure that stuff out. And so the lack of a safety net for me was, no one was paying for my gas. No one was paying for my car insurance. No one was paying for these things. I had to just figure it out. And so often it's like, oh, well, I just want to make sure that, I enjoy my 20s. Do you think I ever got to say that? No, Mike, I really just want to make sure I enjoy my 20s. And, now's the time to party and get it all out. Dude, I didn't do any of that stuff. And I didn't, and I'm super boring.
Yeah.
But I took
I got married at 19, man. I did college all wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're like, this is awesome. So I stayed at work and I stayed late and I talked to the professor. What'd you really do? I stayed late and I talked to the professor.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you actually did. And so people so often don't want to make the sacrifice in those formative years. Like we always talk about, the least amount of debt you're ever going to have
I know.
is right then. It's right then. I mean, if I can catch them before they go to college, and I'm not saying don't go to college. I'm just saying, before you sign up for $100,000 in debt for a basket weaving degree, or sorry, for those of you out there with a history degree, I have friends that have history degrees. They know who they are. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, is you get out, you get the history, and what are you going to do with it? And it's not just a matter of getting paper anymore. You have to be thinking. The challenging thing is, parents make a mistake when they don't manage their kids and help their kids and enable those kids to make decisions, not starting when they turn 18 and where they're going to college, but all the way through their high school years, giving them opportunities to have conversations, make decisions that might have adverse effects, and that way they're trained in how to evaluate and make decisions when they're an adult, not do whatever I told them to. So yeah, if you can't tell, you kind of see a little bit about how I parent.
Yeah.
But it's aggressive. It's hard. My kids will be handed nothing. They will earn everything. And it's because it's their job to be a successful person in whatever they do, but so they can give back.
Yes.
That's their job. But the key for us, and the key really, I believe, in my little rant and tangent, my soapbox just broke on the corner, if you couldn't tell. But the idea here is that, yeah, social programs are needed, but they're needed for a window of time. And everyone needs to know, hey, in 12, 18, or 24 months, this is going away. Because too many people relying on the system, Margaret Thatcher, socialism works until you run out of somebody, but you run out of somebody else's money eventually. It's the same process here. And the US is becoming more and more dependent. 60% of people not paying taxes. So Mike, what's their fair share?
Yeah, exactly.
What's their fit? Zero? They don't use the roads. They don't use any of our services. The fair share is zero.
Zero.
So that's my concern is everybody should shoulder the load. Everybody should shoulder it equally, depending on whatever their number is. Fair share. Do I like the big loopholes at the top? I don't. Do I like the fact that the bottom doesn't have to pay at all? I don't. Everybody should be chipping in. We're a country. We're all in this together. We're humanity. We're all in this together. We all need to be doing our part. And if you are taking advantage of some program, third generation, make the decision now. Make the decision now to say, I'm not going to put my kids in the position where this is the best that they can expect out of life. Because honestly, Mike, I don't know a ton of happy people that are bouncing on the bottom or making minimum wage. I just don't. And it's because they're constantly stressed about life things around them. But very often you can point at their life and you can say, here's 3 or 4 choices that you clearly made wrong. The only option that you have now is to not make wrong choices like that again and turn it around for what it's worth.
Very cool.
8 male lumberjack landlord.
Yeah. Lumberjack landlord. Lumberjack landlord. Lumberjack landlord.
Yeah.
I'm going to just end this one here because I thought that was really well done. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.